On this week's News 30, states begin to take their stance on Syrian refugees.
And Governor Mary Fallin is facing a lawsuit. Stay tuned.
Welcome to this week's News 30. I'm Lindsay Skinner.
And I'm Jake Nelson.
Last Friday, Paris went dark as gunshots and explosions were heard throughout the city. 129 people were killed in terrorist attacks that took place in various locations in the city. Among these locations were cafes, a soccer stadium, and the Bataclan Concert Hall, where the American band Eagles of Death Metal were playing. The attacks were credited to the international terrorist organization known as ISIS. French President François Hollande condemned the attacks as an act of war. After the attacks, France initiated a countrywide manhunt for the suspected mastermind of the attacks, Abdelhamid Abaoud. On Wednesday morning, Abaoud was killed in a police raid that took place in Paris. He was one of the 2 suspects killed in the raid, and 7 other accomplices were arrested. France continues to retaliate against ISIS while still mourning the victims of the attack.
Less than a week after ISIS attacked people on the streets of Paris, 31 governors and lawmakers in the United States have expressed their concerns over allowing Syrian refugees into their states. In Washington today, the House passed a bill that would suspend the program allowing Syrian and Iraqi refugees into the U.S. until national agencies like the CIA and the FBI have certified the refugees do not pose a security risk. The 289 to 137 vote created a majority that could override President Obama's promised veto. President Obama issued this statement: "It is very important that we do not close our hearts to these victims of such violence and somehow start equating the issue of refugees with the issue of terrorism," end quote.
Governor Mary Fallin is asking for a suspension on accepting Syrian refugees into the United States. She made the statement on Monday in response to a state lawmaker's claim that dozens of refugees have already been resettled in Jinx, Oklahoma. According to Fallin's office, only 3 refugees have settled in Jinx since 2012, 2 adults and 1 teenager. The claim was made by Representative John Bennett in a news release on Monday. Fallin's office received calls from Oklahoma citizens concerned about the safety of allowing Syrian refugees into the state following the attacks in Paris on Friday. Reports have indicated that at least one of the attackers in Paris had a Syrian passport. Governor Fallin is among one of the several other state governors who have asked for a pause in accepting refugees until a more thorough screening process can be put into play.
The U.S. Senate passed a defense bill on Tuesday that Obama has agreed to sign, even though it would make it harder to close the Guantanamo Bay military prison. The bill would authorize $607 billion to defense spending and will cut the $5 billion from the previous budget. The bill will make it even more of a challenge for Obama to complete his goal of shutting down the prison. However, the spending cuts have proved necessary enough to make the compromise.
Angry Olympics fans are speaking out against Russia's use of illegal drugs in the Games. In the 2014 Winter Olympics hosted in Sochi, Russian athletes were caught using drugs to enhance their athleticism. The usage was encouraged by employees of Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. Now, individuals around the world are arguing that Russia should be suspended from the Olympics for 1 term. They are also pushing that the 2018 FIFA World Cup not be hosted in Russia.
The recent spike in earthquakes is a game changer for fracking. As most of you know, this morning, a 4.7 magnitude earthquake shook most of Oklahoma. Well, the earthquake earlier into this morning had the greatest magnitude of any earthquake in Oklahoma since 2011. Energy regulators are being forced to consider restrictions on drilling activity around Oklahoma. The commission ruled in mid-August that 23 wells had 60 days to reduce the amount of salt water being injected. Incidentally, Oklahoma has about 4,500 disposal wells with about 3,500 in operation, so these regulations only apply to a small fraction of the wells. News 30, as always, will keep you posted. And after the break, Governor Mary Fallin faces a lawsuit.
And find out which retailers won't be open this Thanksgiving. Welcome back to News 30.
The Oklahoma branch of the American Civil Liberties Union is suing Oklahoma Governor Mary Fallin after two organizations failed to receive requested public documents. The organizations, a nursing home advocacy group and the Oklahoma Observer, requested the documents nearly a year ago, but have still not received a response. ACLU stated that the wait is a violation of the Open Records Act, a legal duty to provide public records. The governor's staff is currently taking steps to improve the document request process and shorten response time.
Former Subway spokesman Jared Fogle was officially sentenced to 15 years and 8 months in federal prison this Thursday after pleading guilty to child pornography and sex charges in August. The judge has recommended that Fogle serve his sentence in a prison in Littleton, Colorado, because of its program for sex offenders. In addition to this sentence, Fogle has paid $1.4 million in restitution.
Campbell's is changing its famous chicken noodle soup recipe. Trying to appeal to healthier buyers, Campbell's is dropping 10 of its 30 ingredients in the soup. Most of these 10 ingredients are preservatives, but one surprising ingredient is celery. Celery is apparently the least favorite part of the soup for most kids. Campbell says that these changes won't take place until at least next year.
Well, Jake, we all know what comes with a Thanksgiving celebration. The annual bustle of people at your local malls and stores around town.
Right.
You know it, Black Friday.
Right.
Tell us about it, Jake.
Black Friday is coming, and I can almost hear the frenzy of the footsteps. Annually, Black Friday is the first Friday after Thanksgiving. This year, some stores have chosen to boycott Black Friday, though, refusing to open their stores. Stores such as REI are scheduled to be closed on this particular Friday. If you are a Black Friday shopper, we wish you safe and successful Black Friday travels.
SeaWorld has announced that they are canceling their killer whale shows. The theme park has received complaints from the public and animal rights organizations and claim that they are trying to evolve as a company. The California Coastal Commission revoked SeaWorld's rights to breed killer whales, but they have other plans to attract fish lovers. Starting in 2017, SeaWorld will be investing in tank expansions and prepare to stage an orca whale experience. Stay tuned for that.
And also stay tuned after the break for Emma Patton and with this week's weather. Welcome back to News 30.
Here's Emma Patton with this week's weather.
Thanks, Lindsay. Well, today was a great day to be in Shawnee. It took a little while to get there, but it did turn out to be a nice day with a high of 61. It's a little chilly out there right now, though, so let's take a look at those current conditions. It's currently 50 degrees, so if you're going to go for a walk or plan on being out tonight, definitely take a jacket with you. The good news is there's not a lot of breeze with the cooler temperatures, and there's almost no cloud cover tonight. You should be able to see the stars really well, especially since the sun went down at 5:19 this evening. Tomorrow, the sun will be back up at 7:07 a.m. Tomorrow, your weekend is going to start off with a cold morning. At around 7 a.m., it's only going to be 45, and it will feel like 40 degrees out there. If you have an early commute to work, make sure that you prepare for that. However, it will warm up all the way to a pleasant 64 degrees tomorrow. It's just going to take a while to get there. Saturday, it's going to be cold, cloudy, and windy. Definitely the coldest day we've had this fall, with a high of only 46 degrees and 20-mile-per-hour wind gusts from the north. And take a look at that low, only 28 degrees. If you haven't already put that insulation on your pipes or moved or covered any plants, make sure that you do that before Saturday evening. Luckily, it will warm up a little bit on Sunday, making it to 51 degrees, but still with a low of 32. Fortunately, the highs for your Thanksgiving holiday are going to stay above the 40s, but the end of next week is looking pretty wet. Your Monday and Tuesday are going to kick off the week with a partly cloudy 58 degrees on both days. Wednesday will be partly cloudy again with a high of 61 degrees with a 30% chance of rain, so hopefully it should be a really good traveling day. This year's Thanksgiving Day is most likely going to be wet, unfortunately, and there's a 60% chance of precipitation for Thursday. But it's going to be a great day to stay inside and eat some turkey. Hopefully you'll be able to celebrate any outdoor traditions that you might have before the actual holiday. Those rain chances in Shawnee do increase throughout your Thanksgiving weekend. 60% chances for Thursday, and then the rain is expected to continue through Friday and Saturday of next week. The good news is there are no freezing temperatures expected over the holiday weekend, so those of you traveling around Oklahoma can just expect moisture, no ice or snow to complicate plans. However, if you're traveling around the rest of the country, you could run into some problems. If you're going to Milwaukee, Chicago, Omaha, there's going to be a lot of snow coming through Saturday and Sunday. The West Coast looks like it should be staying pretty clear, as well as the East Coast, but make sure to watch out for those thunderstorms in Florida and Atlanta if you're going to a warmer destination this Thanksgiving. Wherever you're traveling, just make sure that you're staying informed while making your travel plans. This cold weather may make you shiver, but if you've got allergies, this weekend is good news for you. Since we are looking at that low of 28 on Saturday, it's likely that this is going to be the first freeze of the year, killing a lot of that pollen that has been bothering us all fall. In result, all of the allergens are expected to stay at low levels throughout the weekend and all of next week. Well, that's your weather for this week. Saturday is going to be really cold, and then Thanksgiving week should have moderate temperatures and some rain. Stay safe and stay warm. Back to you, Lindsay.
Oh, thank you so much, Emma. Well, Shawnee, you need a ride but don't have a car? The Pottawatomie County Transit Program actually offers free transportation to any Shawnee area residents. This service helps citizens 18 years or older get to doctor's appointments, apply for jobs, and go grocery shopping. The transit program runs Monday to Friday from 8:30 in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. All rides must be scheduled at least 24 hours in advance. However, same-day rides may be available if there are openings in the schedule. Appointments for rides can be made by calling 405-878-9880.
First Baptist Church here in Shawnee will begin hosting Gamblers Anonymous meetings. Gamblers Anonymous is a social support group for those who struggle with a gambling addiction. The meeting will be held on Tuesday nights at 6 at the First Baptist Church of Shawnee.
Jennifer Lawrence and a host of other big stars return to the big screen tonight with the premiere of Mockingjay Part 2. The fourth installment of the popular movie series is expected to make upwards of $125 million. The movie will be premiering tonight at midnight at Shawnee Cinema 8.
If your teen loves to bake and is looking for a way to help contribute to this year's Thanksgiving meal, the Shawnee Library has it all covered. The library will be hosting an apple pie make, bake, and take on Wednesday, November 25th from 1 to 2:30 p.m., just in time for Thanksgiving. Your teen will put the pie together and then take it home ready to bake. For more information, contact the Adult Information Department of the library at 405-275-6353, and registration is encouraged. I might actually have to take them up on that.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Well, after the break, stay with us. Jermaine Tucker has your sports.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back to this week's News 30.
Here's Jermaine Tucker with this week's sports update.
Thank you, Jake. In NBA news, Anthony Davis and Kevin Durant sat with injuries while Russell Westbrook shined. The Oklahoma City Thunder recovered from a slow start to beat the injury-depleted New Orleans Pelicans 110-103 on Wednesday night, as Westbrook poured in 43 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists. Kanter added 24 points and 14 rebounds off the bench for the Thunder, who bounced back after blowing fourth quarter leads in losses to Boston and Memphis. The Thunder are 2-2 without star forward Kevin Durant, who missed his fourth straight game with a hamstring injury. The Thunder outscored the Pelicans 32-15 over the final 11 minutes of the second quarter to go up 53-45. The Thunder then pushed their lead to 14 points in the third quarter and hung on in the fourth for the win. In NFL news, Denver Broncos coach Gary Kubiak announced Monday afternoon that Brock Osweiler will start quarterback Sunday against the Chicago Bears, as Peyton Manning will begin the process of trying to heal a partially torn ligament in his foot. Manning has been removed from Sunday's loss against Kansas City Chiefs with just over 6 minutes remaining in the third quarter, and Osweiler closed out the game going 14 of 24 for 146 yards to go with a touchdown and an interception. Manning, who has been listed on the injury report with right shoulder, foot, and rib cage injuries over the past 2 weeks, set an NFL record for career passing yards Sunday, but finished only with going 5 of 20 passing for 35 yards and 4 interceptions. Manning has battled his foot injury for weeks prior, but is believed to have aggravated the injury against the Indianapolis Colts on November 8th, resulting in the partial tear of his ligament. With the Broncos playing the Bears this week, Manning will miss out on playing his first game against his former coach, John Fox, who is now the head football coach in Chicago. In NCAA news, Oklahoma Baptist overcame some foul trouble and started the Quinn Woodridge coaching era by winning its first game as an NCAA school, 69-61 over Bethany College on Saturday. OBU led by as many as 16 points in the first half and then survived a scare as the defense began to rack up the foul count. The Bison built on a 10-9 game in the first half by using a 25. We're having technical difficulties here. Just a second, please. Alrighty. The Bison were ahead 35-19 with 1 minute and 40 seconds left in the half. In the fourth quarter, Bethany took a 57-56 lead with 3 minutes and 49 seconds remaining, but Chandler Rickey scored and put the Bison ahead 58-57. He then proceeded to grab a defensive rebound and nail a jumper to extend the lead 61-57. Jensen Height then took over the game and went on a personal 8-2 run, getting a 3-point play, a jumper, and a 3-pointer to go in regulation to ice the game. The 1-0 Bison will now host Wichita Baptist, on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Staying here in NCAA with Oklahoma Baptist, the Oklahoma Baptist Kat Roth and Kaylin Lucy were named first team All-OSN by OklahomaSport.net Monday for 2015 All-OSN volleyball team. Roth and Lucy led the Bison to a 19-11 record heading to the NCAA Regional Thursday on a 6-game winning streak. Lucy, a senior from Midlothian, Texas, led the team with 27 aces, 739 digs, and Roth, a senior from Tulsa, recorded 317 points to lead the team in overall scoring. Well, hey, that's it for this week's sports news. Back to you, Lindsay.
Thank you so much, Jermaine. Well, Shawnee, take a look at these real-life penguins of Madagascar. This ornery group of penguins were foiled into a daring escape from the Denmark Zoo. However, they had a perfect plan. Wave, boys, wave. Except for one mistake.
Yeah, that's right. Tracks in the snow left by the penguins led zoo employees right to the location of the jailbreak. Upon being confronted, the penguins opted to abort mission and to the most opportune times. Always got to cover your tracks, always.
That's all for this week's News 30, and this is actually our last show of the semester. We sure hope that we've done a respectful job, at informing you of national and local news.
Right, and as always, if there's a story that really spoke to you or a week that you may have missed, please always check us out on YouTube and Facebook at Shawnee News 30. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back in February. But until then, have a great night.